Hello, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to VP Reacts, and I'm Vicky.
Peter here.
Welcome to another episode of Nico and Vinz.
Yeah.
That is an interview on the weekly beat with Matoma. Yeah, it was like an interview.
Yeah,
So,
episode 1.
yeah, as usual, guys, come with us to the end. It's gonna be a long, long way. So, grab your juice,
Yeah.
sit down
Relax, enjoy with us.
till the end.
Exactly. It's episode 1. So let's go without wasting much time.
Hey, what's up? It's Matoma here, and welcome to the Weekly Beat. For 10 years, I've been traveling the world, meeting beautiful artists, collaborating with them, hearing their stories. I work with amazing songwriters who also share a unique story. These stories, they create songs. Over the next year, I will be going to an artist, picking them up, bringing them to my studio, where we're gonna chat, and from the chat, we're gonna create the song. Every week, we will be releasing an episode with the song, and I can't wait for you to join this journey. 52 episodes, 52 songs. I'm so excited for you to be along, and now I'm gonna go and pick up the first guests. I can't wait. Let's do this. Today, I'm meeting my friends. It's going to be amazing to have them in the car here. I'm picking them up at the studio where they produce and where they record their record.
Are you hearing some?
I think it's on his the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that, but we enjoy his picking them from the studio.
Yeah.
They are very well known here in Norway, and they have had international stardom more than me. I'm excited for them to be the first guests on this podcast. Yo, what's up, guys?
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! To see you.
Oh, wow. They are really grown. Huh?
Yeah.
This thing, is it a Nico's beard? Huh?
Nico is having some beards. Even Vinz.
Yeah.
So, bro.
Hey, what you talking? You have Porsche?
No, I don't have a Porsche, bro.
Like that's just a,
No, you use your money on shoes instead. I've seen your shoes.
yeah. Matoma's like the most casual stunter in the world.
The most casual stunter in
When
the
you pulled
world.
up on us at the airport with that, what was it, Louis V bag?
Bro, not even that. I think even years and years ago, you pulled up this. I just got this timepiece here costs about 300, 400,000 Norwegian kroners. But it's just a watch.
Hey, man.
How have you guys been?
Been
Good
good.
to see you, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy we get to do this.
Yeah, me too. Do you know what this is?
No.
No, please.
I know it's a podcast.
Yeah.
And I know we're making music.
Yeah. Do you want to tell how everything started and how you two?
How did we start? Yeah. We had a similar. I guess we met. Met in our youth. I mean, we were both
How old
solo.
were you when you met?
Originally,
We were-
first saw each other at 15, 16.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, right?
Yeah. When we
Yeah, at the
first,
club.
That was
yeah,
like
yeah.
when we first started making music. We went to the same.
Did you go to the same high school?
No.
No.
But we attended the same studio at Mortensrud in
Ah.
Oslo. Yeah. So
Like a music program or?
no, it was just like it's like a youth club
Oh,
that
okay.
had like a studio. Great, actually,
Yeah.
phenomenal thing to have for kids, you know. And then in passing, we met each other. Like I was going out, he was coming in.
Ah,
So
I see.
that's the first time we met. But then years later, we also met through a mutual friend that really introduced us to each other.
And you had a similar type of style in music. You
Yeah, we
like,
Rappers.
both rappers.
Ah.
Yeah, so we were rapping at the time.
that's cool.
Playing around with that, we were also doing sports at the time, like football and stuff.
Was it mostly in Norwegian or was it in English?
It was English,
Yeah, it
brother.
was English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah. Right, so they really met in a youth
In a youth club.
a youth club. Right, those guys are really lucky. They have a youth club studio. Ooh, wow. Sorry for the advert, huh? Let's go.
Because that's one thing I've always noticed with your sound and with
Yeah.
your style.
Yeah.
Like, even though you're from Norway
Mm.
and you have roots to African culture,
Yeah.
you sound very American.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
when you rap, and
Wait.
when I heard you guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when I heard "Am I Wrong" for the
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
I didn't even know you were Norwegian, and I was like, damn, these Americans, they're fucking cool. And then somebody told me like, oh no, they're Norwegian. And I was like, they don't sound Norwegian.
I don't know where that comes from.
No, I don't know either.
We
Just a lot of American culture. Though.
Yeah.
For some reason, we've just been able to pick up on the sonics of the dialect, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. They say people that speak different languages have it easier to learn new languages. So I speak French.
Oh, you do?
Yes, my dad's from Ivory Coast, so I speak French.
That's true.
I went to French school. Vinz has Ghanaian roots, so he speaks a little bit of the Ghanaian language that his mom speaks, and also English, obviously from Ghana. And they also say that people that are in music also have it easier to learn languages.
I don't know about that. hey, wherever I go, people tell me I sound like fucking Norwegian. So. And you know, Ina Wroldsen,
Yes.
she's always criticized my English. She's like, Tom, when are you gonna learn proper Norwegian?
No, this is you, bro. You can't.
Yeah, this is cool. It's better like this, man.
So basically, you had this similar music program that you went to.
Yes.
And that's how you like connected?
Yeah, that was when we first connected. So, and
that was at the age of 16.
16, but then
16,
at 18, 19, we got reintroduced.
Yeah.
You know, our friend who was our manager for years afterwards, he introduced us and told us basically, yo, you guys are both rappers.
Yeah.
How about you guys do a session together?
Yeah.
Like, I had a home studio,
Yeah.
and Nico, you should come to Vinz, make a song, whatever, see, because you guys both have something, you know? And then I remember Nico came to my house one summer day. I don't know, he came to my house, came in my home studio at my room, at my mom's home.
So you had the same setup as me?
Yeah,
Home studio,
but you know, just computer.
Did you have the carpet?
Oh, that's nice. He had a whole studio in like a home studio. And then Nico came, and then they recorded the Am I Wrong?
They say that? He said
Yeah.
that he just came.
He came,
Yeah.
but he mentioned Am I Wrong somewhere.
Yeah, you had the D. That was the cover. Yeah, the cover.
Yeah.
I set
And
up
you
on the
made
wall.
it?
Yeah, and it had like a little microphone and like sound card and stuff. And Cubase. And then
Oh, you were in Cubase?
Yeah, I was in Cubase. Yeah.
Oh,
And then,
so you were on PC?
yes. And then
You couldn't afford Apple?
no, Apple. That was years later.
Yeah, me too.
Post am I wrong? Yeah. but yeah, we made one song and the song was called "Make It Happen." And from there,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
just
Make it happen,
Make
not
it
Am I Wrong.
happen,
Yeah.
did that song. We did another one, and then
Is that on Spotify still? Make it happen?
no, you might find it on YouTube, maybe, but I'm not
Maybe.
sure. I'm
Very
not sure. This is very early. At some point, it was on YouTube. Yeah. But that's when it
Didn't
started, and
post
then
it.
the rest is history. You used to rap a lot in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was what we did.
yeah.
And then we kind of felt like, because we were singing in English, we felt like on some of the songs, we felt as if it'd be nice to have Usher sing this hook or Chris Brown sing this hook, you know, some R&B artists.
Yeah.
But obviously we weren't going to get them or find a lot of people in Norway that were able to speak like them.
Yeah. Sing like
So we started doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
We just laid the hooks for ourselves, and
You know
it
that
didn't
is,
sound great, but you know, that kind of introduced us to doing more melodies also and singing.
Yeah.
I was doing a similar thing with production.
Yes.
I didn't have any songwriters or
Yes.
anybody that I could get into the studio that could help me, like
Yes.
getting like vocals, getting ideas, hooks.
Yeah.
So my brother said, "Hey, why don't just go on YouTube and rip off acapellas?"
Yes.
Oh, right.
So that's
Smart.
so that's where I found all things.
That's
back,
how you
know,
get
like so and this is the crazy thing. When I ripped off All Thing Back
Yeah.
and I put that up on SoundCloud
Yeah.
and I made that whole thing, and Atlantic wanted to sign it. They couldn't find the original vocal. So the vocal that has now 600 million streams
way.
on Spotify and YouTube and
It's just a
combined,
rip-off?
it's just
Is
the
it a
rip-off.
rip-off from
No
YouTube?
way.
It's the rip-off vocal from
That's
YouTube.
cool.
And it's so shitty MP3 quality, and I had to run it through these like programs to get like the quality crisp and good.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that I took bachelor in music technology and production, because
Right.
if I hadn't,
Yes.
then
Yes.
I would have been screwed.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
Super cool.
sorry.
And then right after, I got the vocals for Miami with Will Smith.
You
did?
Yeah.
And that's how everything started.
awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, you had a journey, bro.
Yeah, these guys.
You guys
A
have had a
real one.
journey.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's been, you know what's been cool has been to kind of follow each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was-
We've had like very similar.
Yeah, it's around the same time.
yeah, and I remember like we had sessions in Oslo. I think just before Am I Wrong, or was it right after Am I Wrong? I can't
No,
remember.
right after.
It was right after, yeah. And then we also had sessions.
I think you guys had Am I Wrong 2 years before I broke.
Was it that long?
Yeah, because I signed with Atlantic in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, something. Sure, he's right.
Yeah, and I think Am I Wrong was like 2013.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's funny. I talked to my brother yesterday, and I told him we were doing this podcast with Matoma tomorrow, and he was like, "You remember that first session you guys did
Oh my
at
God.
at the Stad at our
Yeah.
My brother was there.
He was there.
And he was like, "You." Speaking of coming from far, he was like, "You guys were doing a session," and I was like, "I don't even remember this." And he was like, "You don't remember?" Tom was using like 5 hours on 3 chords.
No way. That's hilarious.
And you guys came in and out of the studio, and you were like, we're not moving anywhere. And Tom was like perfectionizing these 3 chords.
But you know that song for me.
Yeah.
What song was that?
That was
It was Perfect Chase.
Was it Perfect
Perfect
Chase?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I have
we should
it.
play it later.
Yeah, we should play it.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the melody.
Yeah.
I cannot remember that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But then then we did that session, and then obviously we all had
We
some
ended up.
success
Yeah, we also had a session in the US.
in the US at
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Atlantic
Yeah.
Studios, right? Was it?
Yeah, in LA.
Yeah, in LA.
Yeah.
Was
I don't
that
know, did you come to the house at the Calabasas house?
Yeah.
You came to the Calabasas house.
We
That's
did.
cool.
We did the song.
that's true.
Oh, so Matoma was like the producer or something.
Yeah, he's a producer.
So I realized like he knows much about Nico and Vinz.
Yeah, exactly.
Even some things that and Vince don't know, he's
Yeah,
kind of
forgot,
reminding them. So
Exactly.
Love You Right.
Yeah, Love You Right.
Love You Right.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh,
But
I wanna love you. I wanna love you.
but also then Coachella.
Yeah.
So Coachella before he has to come
Oh
out.
my God,
we did
that
our
was a
own.
moment.
Yo, this guy had fucking Sean Paul, Ja Rule.
Ja Rule.
Was Akon there? Or am I tripping?
Yeah.
Akon was there, right?
Yeah.
This guy was just straight up flexing. bro.
And then it was us.
It was
No, and then
That's what I'm saying. He's the most casual stunter in the world, bro.
And Madcom.
Mad comes.
Mac was there too.
And I remember you guys were like I remember Sean Paul. He was
Yeah.
like, he had taken some mushrooms or whatsoever.
Yeah,
And he was
he
like,
was?
yeah. And he came like right before stage. He was like, oh man, I'm feeling these mushrooms right now. And I was like, you're about to go on stage with like 20,000 people. And he was like, Rastafari. That was so fun. Oh, I still talk with Sean.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Didn't you have like a really interesting session with him at some point?
Yeah. We ended up releasing a song called Paradise.
Yeah.
And it was so, like, that guy,
Yeah.
like, it's just amazing to see that people that are hardworking
Yeah.
are humble and
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
you know, like, he was just like that guy that came into the studio and
Yeah.
he did not leave until he was satisfied.
Yes.
And he was
Oh,
standing in the
very
booth and he was like so committed and he really wanted to make me happy
Yeah.
and to see that type of professionality.
Yeah.
Same with you guys, you know,
Yeah.
like when we were in the studio.
so he has like produced also for Sean Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to listen to Sean Paul's songs when we were like in high school or something. He had like very good dance hall reggae music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rastafari.
Yeah, but he used to sing the dance hall ones.
Yeah.
You know, even though I was spending 4 hours on the chords, you didn't complain.
No,
you were
no,
sitting
of course
there just like giving good vibes.
Yes,
No, but
of
it's so important that
Yeah.
everybody collectively
Yeah, bro.
try to do the best for the song.
Most of the top players, they are, honestly. That's our experience
Yeah.
too. Most of the top guys, they always come off as like humble
Yeah.
and just hardworking and appreciative of whatever situation they're in.
I've had a couple where it's been like, nah, you know.
Yeah.
But
Right?
yeah. But I don't want to.
No.
Yeah. It's I don't want to get sued.
No, of course.
You could mention Champol mushrooms, but not
Yeah. That you can mention for sure.
It's cool.
I'm loving it. Yeah. I'm loving it.
I
Yeah.
like the tree, the brown.
They have now.
We love everything organic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's
cool.
in our music. It's in the way we expose ourselves, and I think this matches.
I know for a fact that you have always stayed organic, and the way I know that is because first time I met you, and this was many years ago. You said it in the car. We were down here in the studio at Ep.001, and the way you included me. Because you saw my energy and you saw the pureness I had, even though I was like childish, foolish, I wasn't very professional, you know, like you had quite a amount of success when we first met, and I was, you were actually my role models because you had such fantastic success where you had taken something from Norway and suddenly like blow it up in proportion as big as the world's domain that you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you still managed to give me a sense of, I will say, very professional. You know, like I felt very professional. I know it sounds like
that's a great compliment.
but I felt like, man, like I felt invincible when I was in the studio with you.
That's amazing.
And that's why I ended up sitting there for so many hours, like trying to just make those chords perfect.
Yes.
Because I was looking so up to you.
That's thank
That's
you.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool to hear.
That's cool
But
to hear.
we don't naturally do that larger than life thing.
No.
You know, but I would argue that we have been on different paths.
Yeah.
That there are times where you might have looked at us and felt like, you're a little bit off your path right now.
Yeah.
And at least we recognize that.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is that, you know, as people, we also mirror each other.
Yeah.
So what you felt in us, we also very likely and still feel in you.
Yeah.
So I remember times when you came and had us rehearsing with you for the Coachella show. And for us, it was like,
That's
Matoma. Even though we knew you, but there's still this feeling of he's doing something that we also dreamt of. We dreamt of doing Coachella, and you did it, you know.
And invited us to come along with you.
So
And you know, that was a moment.
You know what I mean?
That was a moment
beautiful.
for all of us, you know.
Exactly. I think a connection that we have and a thing that we share in common that we've maybe battled in the industry that we're with is like, you know, I think all of us can like tap into like a very pure childish thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, that thing is actually kind of sacred.
Yeah.
It keeps us being like kind of how we are. You know what I mean?
And
But
By the way you said that they are childish or something, like you could really see them in the videos that you've been watching.
the tours.
The tours, they're more of friends, they're more of
Yeah.
boys, like they're more of they have this childhood like nature or something
Exactly.
that really connect them and make them to be, I think,
free each
to feel
other.
free with each other, no matter when, even if they are bosses to someone or the others are like the workmates, they just feel like, we are more friends than workmates.
Exactly.
And that's what really connects people together.
it's like learning. I think we both had an experience as we've grown and matured that shit. Some places we gotta actually be a bit more aware of how we maybe switch into a different mode.
yeah, I mean,
And
I
be
think
good
about
to
it.
switching back and when it's time to switch back. You know what I mean?
Bro, like two young guys, right?
Yeah.
With African heritage
Yeah.
and Norwegian
Yeah,
heritage.
Yeah.
Where have you seen that in the world?
Yeah.
On the world stage.
Yeah.
One guy from, what's the name of your town? Flisa? No.
Flisa.
Flisa.
Yeah.
On the world stage.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel the pressure of
Wanting to.
what I am is not good enough or it's too different.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to go through that. But the strength and the power lays in exactly what you are.
Yeah.
But I think because a lot of people have always asked me, how have you managed?
Yeah.
Like the pressure, the traveling, and I think coming from a small community as Flisa, even though
Please.
all the people in the
Where
world
is
can
it?
probably not cope and understand what is Flisa and what that culture is, because it's so different and unique than anything else in the world, because the Norwegian culture itself is quite complex and different than the rest of the world due to our darkness in the winter. We only have 1 hour of sunlight from January to March. That does something with you, and then
Really? Like 1 hour of sunlight from Jan to March.
January to March.
Oh my God! 1 hour of sunlight. How do they survive?
Yeah, I see it's winter. Do you notice even on the wall, the Matoma's room,
Yeah.
it has that mountain and the snow thing.
Of course, during winter, I think the snows are all over. But imagine 1 hour of sunlight, so it's
From
kind
January to
of
March.
just dark and
Yeah.
dull. Oh, I think Africa, we really have a good weather.
Yeah, we are lucky.
Exactly, because we don't experience even winters. I don't know, we don't experience the seasons. It's just normal.
Not only from the North Pole as we did last time.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then on top of it, we have so many different cultures in the regions that so for me, like if I was in Flisa when I grew up and I went to Oslo
Yeah.
on a weekend trip, that was like going to a different country almost, because the culture was so different. And even though we've gotten more globalized over the years, it's still different.
Exactly.
I'm very grateful that my dad worked in the United Nations. He's a teacher, or now he's retired, but he was a teacher. But back in the days, he's quite smart, and he made like these solar panels systems to help powering up schools and stuff. So he went down there and did solitary work and helped out, like building and helping out schools.
That's it.
And one thing that I learned from that was like knowledge. Just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. And you like for me, it's.
You guys hear that shit?
Yes.
He said just because somebody says something.
Doesn't mean it's true.
No, you have to.
It's a big thing though. It's a big thing in our day and age.
I'm very pointing out.
It's a huge thing. Yeah.
And but so collectively, you have to collect the data, the information around the subject. Then you have to objectively go in and look at it yourself, and then from the data, the information and what you've collected, you can make up a mind.
Yes.
You can make up a decision. What do I think about this?
Yes.
But to think something about something that you haven't really see or so, and that is something I feel very committed to through my music, for example, where it's like when I and this is like everybody's different, but this is where I take inspiration. When I go and see different cultures, where I see different people. I've been, as I said, to 108 countries. I played in 60 of them.
Right.
That does something to your soul.
Yes. For real.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see so many different things, and they're all the same. Or like there's so much. There's a common denominator, right?
One thing, I've seen so many different things, and one thing that is automatically the.
You are in alpha for the first time.
Oh, sorry for that. I think today we'll be experiencing so many of these.
Yeah.
But
what a good inspiration, huh?
yeah, by the way.
Yeah, speaking that very well. So let's continue.
Realness in everything I see is love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like hate can be different.
Yeah.
Like jealousy can be different in different cultures.
Yes.
Like anger can be different, how you express anger.
Yeah.
But love is the same.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, love is
Hey, talking of anger, here in Kenya, like we have different communities, and different communities are known for their anger issues. You can be told that maybe there is maybe if Kisi, Aluya, or something like you cannot compare Kisi anger with Aluya anger. Like it's different, but it's just the same thing. The way he's saying, but the love will always remain the same because people interact, but we are different, raised from different communities, so you cannot compare everything, but that love is what unites us all. That's
always that one ingredient that is the same.
Okay, so let me ask this thing, because this whole love thing that you've always carried since the first time we met you, probably like almost 10 years ago, even more maybe. I think, where does this, like Matoma, when I think about Matoma and that brand, I think about love. I'm thinking like, where is your, like that message? It's a very powerful message. Though maybe you would maybe argue in pop culture it's not the coolest message to have. Where does that desire?
And especially not in the EDM world.
It's cooler to be dark, or maybe a bit more like. But
you know,
yes,
it's not cool to be that bedroom producer where you put on the backpack and you're like.
No, yes. So where does that even come from for you?
I no idea. It's just like my identity, who I am. I'm a simple person. That communicates through my music, and my music is very complex. So, and that's where I think like some artists, they can have like the most universal music, and everybody can listen to it, and it makes sense. And others, they may, you may have to listen to the song 5-10 times before you like snap, listen to it. And I think like I went from being like that universal artist because I was very simple in the way I was communicating in the beginning, because I was true to myself, and then I got drawn into this machinery of like big label, lot of decision making, so many people that are having an opinion on your music, like what to make, what to look for, what this, what that, like maybe you should be something in the pocket of this and that, you know, that pocket, I'm so sick and tired of that, make it in the pocket, you know, and for people that are not in the music industry, they probably don't understand, but when somebody says, you have to be in the pocket, it's like, oh my god, I don't want to be in anybody's pocket. I want to be in the center of my universe. You know,
So just to not to cut you off, bro, but like I think this is maybe interesting because there's not so many Norwegian artists that have been signed to an American or a major label in the US and kind of had to deal with exactly this. There aren't like hundreds and hundreds of them. There are maybe tens and something,
maybe,
you know what I mean?
Maybe you can put them on
maybe one, two times, but that's, you know what I mean? So how's that experience been for you? Like, because I think we share that experience of a lot of the things you just said now is like very much, but how was that whole thing? Like you come from Fleece, I don't know, and like you come to LA and then you have a bit of success and then now it's time to re-up that success and go again, and then you're now getting thrown into many different rooms. Now you're doing crazy shows. You're working crazy hours.
I think it's maybe the hours that took me. The craziness around it. You're like you're going from a bedroom producer, and then suddenly you have employees. You have this.
By the way, that's you.
Responsibility.
$1 million dollar industry where money is coming in, and you feel the weight of the world in a different way that you haven't done before, because it's like everything is just new, and you have managements that is reaching out to you, agents that you have signed to that are starting to book you, and you're like, visa, what is that? And you have to start reading about like visa.
I can really put myself in that shoe. Imagine like you are you are used to like your personal life, and now you've
Yeah.
gotten into the industry. You maybe no one had told you or no one had prepared you before
Exactly.
how you will even manage your money is coming in,
Manage your team even, huh?
how you will manage your you now have to employ many people.
Yeah.
Like it's really a huge workload. How will you even talk to agents? People want to book you, people want to give you jobs. How will you even your pay rates and all that? Like it's a huge thing, and it's affecting so many people, so many
Yeah.
artists
And
in general, even creators and all that.
And the worst thing is
Yeah.
the basic thing comes on decision making.
Exactly.
Remember the team, even your employees might have the opinion, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
decision lies on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to listen to each and everyone
Yeah, then
opinion.
make a decision.
Make a
And
decision.
remember, your decision is final. So wherever you make wrong or right depends on you. The repercussion, it's on your
It's up on
side.
you. So like
Yeah.
it's a huge problem that like sometimes yes you feel like money is there, but there is a lot that comes with it.
Exactly.
Oh.
These applications,
Yeah.
and then half a year in,
Yeah.
you have tax.
Yeah.
You have all this
It's
like
a tough transition.
Yeah,
It's
like-
I always felt like for EDM producers also,
Yeah.
not only do you have to produce songs, you have to
Yeah.
write songs, you have to do all these things you mentioned,
Yeah.
but you also have to play a lot of the
Yeah.
times shows in the middle of the night.
yeah.
So we didn't play in the middle of the night. Like most of the EDM producers we played with, it's like 2 at night,
Yeah.
3 at night, 4 sometimes, and that many nights in a row. I don't know if it was like that for you,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that also takes a toll.
My first 2 years as an artist, traveling artist, as a DJ,
Yeah.
my first year I did over 300 days
You know,
That's
on tour.
That's wild.
Wow.
And
That's wild.
during those 300 days, I could easily have a show in Trondheim,
yeah,
then go from Trondheim to Stockholm,
Yes.
Stockholm, London,
yes,
and then London Billboard Top 100,
yes.
Yeah.
then Vancouver, then Brazil, and then back to Norway, Molde. I was really
wild.
Molde, yes. That's I was like in.
Because do you feel like for us, right? Because we go on stage and we sing.
Yeah.
So for us, like it has to be an element of rest.
Yeah.
We can do
Oh,
it.
no, yeah, I understand that. Everybody understands.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
you're a singing artist,
Yeah.
you have to let your vocal cord.
Yes.
you have
Yes.
to-
Yeah.
So my point was, do you feel like because you're not singing on
Yeah.
stage, that people in the industry also don't think, no, but why do you need so much rest?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the argument. Every time I was like talking about rest, it was like, oh, but you don't sing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah, you're right.
But
Yeah.
thinking
Because
is
they
a
have-
lot.
But
That's crazy.
the amount of work
Crazy.
and just like going from a 2 a.m. show to 4 a.m. Then you
Yeah.
have a lobby call at 7.
It's tough. Man.
Because you have to hit that morning flight because you're flying to the next destination to have sound check.
But bro, you also have this record that you have to finish
Yeah,
that sent to
yeah.
the artist, and
Mix
there's
and
also
master.
another mix that you gotta
and then-
mix on the plane while you're going to this thing, and you're sitting in the airport with the.
Yo, I remember very
Oh,
vividly
man.
some of the
Wow.
toughest times for us. I remember I was sitting, I think it must have been on a tour bus or something, and thinking, I understand why people do drugs in this industry.
Oh, I
Like
definitely
the
thought
way-
that. I definitely
Like, there's
thought.
2 ways to survive these.
Yeah.
Either I gotta be healthy as hell and go and work
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
train as much as I can
Yeah.
and have a strong body,
And
or
rest,
I'm gonna
yeah.
do drugs.
And like I started
I
understand.
yeah.
I swear, sometimes I was so tired. I started about like, man, I get this whole cocaine thing now. I literally thought that. I was that tired,
Yeah.
and I
But
knew
you
I had to
know-
get on. I knew I had to get on stage.
Yeah.
By this date, I can still say I have not taken drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No,
I-
we
none of
like,
us
like,
do.
like alcohol,
Yeah.
and of course when you have been in the studio with Snoop Dogg,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
You smoke even though you don't smoke.
cannabis, but I have not taken any other drug,
No.
and I can say that, and but there was this one time where my best friend was getting married, and we had a bachelor party,
Yeah.
and in that moment of 2 days of drinking and just like you know how Norwegians are in bachelor parties, and this is just how much I love my friends, because these are the friends I have from Flisa, my
Yes.
culture,
Yeah.
and it was 3 a.m. the last night on a Saturday, and I could not understand why all these like guys were going to the restroom all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they were gone for such a long time, and then they came back, and I was getting more tired, and they were getting more energized. And I was like, what you guys are up to? Like, can I follow you to the restroom also? I need to pee. And they're, oh, we're not peeing. And they're, oh, what you doing? Oh, no, we're snorting. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have some because I'm getting tired. And that, in a moment of weakness, being drunk, my best friend, he looked at me, even though he doesn't do it, but he looked at me, and just in that moment he said, Tom,
Don't do it.
that's not for you.
Yeah, that's not for you.
Oh, that's a
you are
caring
independent. Like, we have works, like we can do this on a weekday, but you, after tour, you can have 4 weeks off. It's not for you. You have the money, you can not, no.
That's cool. That's cool.
And this is many years ago. But I still remember this as it was yesterday, because like the realness in his eyes, and the moment of truth, just like that is love.
It's real love.
Real love.
Telling you something you maybe don't want to hear.
But it's tough.
And that's true. It's a moment like where you are sleeper, where you just want to fall down, that somebody holds you. You can't forget, because he was really about to do it.
Yeah, but a friend is just when he's caring, or he's there. He wishes good intentions for you. He was a real one, because he was like, no, don't try it, because that's not for you. But if it was like a fake friend, or someone to just joyride with you, he would be like, yeah, try it. Just try it.
And majorly, he want to see how will you behave after
How
trying
you
it.
react, how it's gonna go with you. So that was a real love. The way he has just said, real love.
Love, real love, and that's, some people just need that.
Exactly.
And to have that, I'm so grateful.
That's beautiful. And I was just wondering, like, you're talking about real friends. I was wondering how like, in all of this, you probably met a gazillion people, different people.
Yeah.
Some
better than others.
How has it been with all of this Matoma being, as you said, pure and being real, and now having to sift through a lot of different people with a lot of different, intentions? Yeah. Knowing that they might not see Tom, they might see Matoma and stuff like this. Have you made any like, oh man, I didn't know this person was just, like, you made many mistakes in that sense, like with people around you?
I think in the beginning, I've always knew.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, since you were an underdog, you just had to swallow the pride of your instincts.
Yeah. Okay.
And rather go on the basis of what I need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And over time, due to the fact that you had that, over time you maybe forget it.
Yeah.
Because of the pace, because of the stress, because of every new aspect coming in, of impressions, of expressions. And then I felt for a moment I lost myself,
in the circle of people that were around you at that time, when all the people you were communicating with. Just because you had a lot of people.
I've never lost the ability of loving somebody, or being kind, or being humble, but I've lost maybe the spark within myself.
Yes.
And in that I got a bit depressed. It was hard for me to make music because I wasn't inspired. What was I supposed to be inspired from? Just trying to copy somebody else. And that wasn't the right approach for me. Especially growing up with learning everything myself. Like, this was a time when I started producing. There wasn't any YouTube tutorials. There wasn't any, like, you couldn't go online and have an AI just like make some chords for you. Like, you had to really dive into the craft of music making, and you had to learn the program 100%. And on top of it, I was a classical pianist. So I was juggling, like, I didn't want to sit there and put stuff in. I wanted to play it. So that took longer time because I had to record everything, organically, Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool, man. It's so telling to me that you're saying that you were a little bit depressed in times where you feel like you lost yourself.
Yeah.
I assume maybe you lived with a mask on. You weren't your authentic self.
The Norwegian rap group Carpe Diem.
Yes.
Yeah, they or now they are just Carpe.
Carpe.
They had a song where it was like, "You're happy from one to Matoma." They had a reference. They had a reference because I was like always the happy. At that time when they made that song, if you speak to Maren, my fiance, and ask her if I was happy, no.
But this is exactly that's my point, because we've had this conversation with so many artists. At the time when it's peak, why does life look the worst?
Yeah.
Same thing for us.
Oh, by
We're
the
performing
way,
here. It's Obama's, it's the Ellens, it's the this and that, but you don't feel like even waking up in the morning.
No.
Why is that? And then you're even ashamed almost of yourself for feeling these things because you're making money. You've achieved your dreams. You're doing things that all of these little kids want to do, and you're not feeling it. Right? So where is it that things have gone wrong, right?
I have spent so much time meditating on this.
Yes.
And I think it's because you stop being in the moment.
Yeah.
And you think very much about what have just happened.
Yeah.
So if you've just had this crazy amount of success that you've probably been thinking about your entire life, manifesting just like this is like I want to like this is my dream. This is what's gonna make me happy. This is like that's your sole purpose. That is like you have to get to that point, and then you get there.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, it's not what you were thinking because you've been dreaming about this moment and you've been fantasizing about, like, standing on that stage.
Yeah.
But you haven't been fantasizing about the responsibility.
No.
Exactly.
You haven't been fantasizing about, like, the calls in 7 a.m. in the morning with your business manager where it's like, oh, you need to get your taxes done, you need to this, that. You haven't talked about, you haven't dreamt about like the phone calls with your A&Rs where they call you and like, oh, this is shit. You have to make something else or we're gonna tank. The only thing you fantasized about is all the good stuff.
Of course.
And then, but nobody have taught you to deal with the bad stuff. And it's not necessarily bad things. It's just like it haven't happened to you before, so you don't know how to react. And if you haven't,
with them.
then the knowledge or learn how to react in those moments, then everything can fall apart because all of them are in some way new experiences.
Exactly. So I remember looking at the.
Oh, sorry. I think most things that affect maybe people that are on the limelight, social media, and maybe artists, all that, is that maybe the negative energy they get from the fans.
The negative fans.
Yeah, the negative energy they get out there. Maybe you get into the industry when you watch like you think like everyone will love you, will be positive about you, and then there is this side of the negativity. When it comes to you, you don't know how to react to them. Some will get into you, and that when it gets to you, most of the artists or people get into the depression and all that because they don't know how to deal with them. But maybe with time, you now learn gradually how to deal with the negative effects.
By the way, I think this is for measuring on the majors and mining on the minors.
By
issue.
the way,
like you can find out that it's just a minor issue, though it's personal.
Yeah.
You make it more concentrating it on more on the minor issue and forgetting the major, and the fact that you're here for something.
You should just focus on what you want, considering that people will take you positively and others will take you negatively.
When Avicii took his life.
Oh.
It was weird because I looked at him and it was like, oh, yeah, I can understand why somebody would do that. Obviously, I wasn't there myself, but I felt like if I amplify what I'm feeling now times 10, then maybe I'd be where Avicii is, right?
And you also
the beauty of that moment also is that you can keep going that way, or you can shift. And when you shift, you get to where we are now. It seems like you're in the same place where now it's oh, okay, I see what I need to stay away from.
Yeah.
I see how I want this to look.
Yeah.
Because me and Vince are still dreaming bigger than we ever did.
Yeah.
So when this happens for us again, I'm quoting it like this because we're on that journey. It's happening right now. But once we get to, let's call it the am I wrong level that we touched, right? It's just gonna look different. We're gonna know who we want besides us. We're gonna know how we're gonna set up our business or how we're setting it up. We're gonna know who we're gonna have our families close, and so we're just gonna be so much more powerful and it's gonna be sustainable. And I think it's important sometimes to put out there that, as artists, you're not supposed to show a front of pain.
No.
But we go through the exact same thing as everybody in the world. But because
and sometimes we go through it even amplified because we also take on other people's pain.
I would argue that. Yeah. I would definitely argue that.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to show that.
No.
You're not supposed to complain.
No.
Because your life is so much better than...
Because you're making money, you're famous.
Yeah.
And
but I think, just to finish off my point, I think where you get strength in those situations is also not to victimize yourself. That is not what I'm trying to do here.
No.
I wasn't a victim, but that was reality. So it's important to meet it and then figure out, okay, where do I go from here? And that takes courage because for a lot of people, that might mean I need to cut off some jobs. These people are depending on me for their money. I might need to cut them off. I might need to, you're $1 million business. If you're at that level. So it's challenging, but it can be a beautiful journey once you go through it.
One thing that I think is in every artist, if it's EDM or if it's a singer, if it's a guitarist, it's sometimes it can be very lonely. Like you can have, you could be a group, but even though you're a group, you have individuality in it.
For sure.
And everybody in that group can have had different stories, have had different experiences. Some may, even though, and this is also something that we never talk about in the industry, is like the affection of like how easy it is for a band member, for an artist, for a person in management in A&R, because there's a lot of parties, there's a lot of industry parties, there's a lot of to get addictive on something as a drug is very easy. And when the drug becomes the solution of coping with life, with life problems, I've seen so many times where it just goes to shit.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing.
It really just goes straight down the toilet. And it's so sad to see strong individuals that have been independent on themselves, that have just lost their voice of other people's opinions.
And I think it's the most amazing thing about art is that I think you as an artist also, when we create, we feel in line with something higher than ourselves, right? And it's just euphoric feeling. Once things become too businessy, if you're not able to at least control it, it can take over, and you lose that connection with that higher self or whatever you want to call it, and that makes you not feel right. It's like you said earlier. I think Vince asked you, where does this love thing come for you from? Where does it come from? And you said, I don't know. I find
it's maybe the higher power.
I find that when I do the things that are most right for me, and people ask me the questions about it, I'm just like, I don't know.
It just
But
happens.
every time I'm putting on some kind of mask or trying to be something, then I have an explanation for why I'm doing it. So then I always come back.
This is very funny because Andrew, my manager, he sometimes just like he loves me and he always supports me, but sometimes he get also a bit he can get a bit worried because I'm very oh, it's gonna fix itself,
That's you. That's you.
I think that's Vinz. He comes with a problem and you're like, "Whoa, this is a huge problem," and he's like, "Okay, we'll see what to do." Like nobody. He feels like he doesn't care or something, but it's not like he doesn't care, but like he's used to it, and he knows that I will find a solution for it.
He doesn't have that pressure of making
pressure,
decision
like
kind of a
exactly,
thing.
yeah.
Don't do nothing.
The universe is gonna just like make it fix itself. No. But then I think like like in the way I live and the amount of love, that is my higher power or what it is. Call it what the. It's because I have that, It's because for me it's not about the success or it's about the money or it's about like. This is funny, but now in the school debate when I was on television and I was speaking on the behalf of the children of Norway and the right of safe schooling, I saw this article where like a young politician was like, "Oh, he's just doing it for the fame."
Oh, that's sad.
Bro, if you had any sort of understanding what it is to be me, what it is to take the elevator, being recognized by every single person that you like when you go on the street. I couldn't care less about the fame.
I know that about you for sure.
I do it because it's right.
Yes.
It's a big difference of fame and what you feel inside is right. And when I stand on television and I'm angry on the behalf of young children, it's not because I want to have fame. Because I've had fame on
For years.
mentor on The Voice, being like on like fronting like another television show, like it's like I'm actually quite shy when it comes to like being on television. Like if you ask Maren, she could just tell me like, Tom, you like to be in the woods by yourself. I like to sit on the beach and just like watch the ocean for hours. That's who I am. But you have to sometimes put on responsibility with what you're doing. And I feel the same way with you. Like when I reached out to you on Stronger Together and I asked you if you wanted to be a part of my charity and come and perform. Other artists were like, oh, we have to speak with managements and we have to like this and that. Not everybody, but some. But you...
Oh, I think that shows how Nico and Vince are so kind.
By the way,
Like,
they are ready to come through
yeah.
wherever needed.
It's not all about money and all that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just give us the date. And that is the pureness,
Give us the date.
like we're talking about.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, because growing up in Norway, with the culture of being influenced by African roots, can you tell me about like how that was?
For me, my dad is a musician. So
you told me
African
that.
musician, my uncle. So I grew up in that ever since I was little. I have pictures of me laying in the crib, like the bouncing crib, if that's what it's called in English, as a baby, and him dancing in front of me and playing.
Do you remember those sessions? Like, do you remember being at work? No. You don't remember?
Bro, I don't remember what we did last week.
That's very true.
You know me.
That's actually very true.
I'm very much right here. So I don't remember it, but my dad have always said that, you've been vaccinated with music. That's one of the vaccines
beautiful.
we gave you as a child. So for me, it's always been around.
And your dad, he was was he performing and singing in?
Performing, he does shows for kids.
Ah.
He was also in theaters. He was in arts. Like he was.
How did your mom and dad meet?
He came through what's called the National Ballet of Ivory Coast.
Wow.
So they traveled the world and did a tour around the world. And then at some point they came to Norway and he saw a blonde, blue-eyed girl and fell in love.
And look at the miracle they created. How is your music? How is your music making now compared to how it was 10 years ago?
I think.
Like, have you learned anything? Or are you doing anything different? Or like?
I think we've obviously just become better writers as a whole because we have more game time. We've done it for longer. But I think we've become the biggest thing for us is when I think of it is that we've become good at doing what we feel is right, not always what we think is right. So
before you could think that this was right.
So like for example, right? So let's say we're in we're in America. We've just blown up with Am I Wrong? And now we're in America. There aren't too many people like us. This is before the whole Afrobeat wave has started. So the people that our label puts us in the, like you said, the box with is more African Americans who have their style, their culture. So we begin to be like, oh, maybe we need to fit in here. Right? I'm saying a long story kind of short now, but it's to prove a point. And so I don't know about for you, Vinz, but for me at least, there was a moment when, you know, because you want to be liked and you want to be cool, kind of like them. So there are many times when we made music that if I'm not careful, I'll start to think, no, but that type of melody or that type of topic, it's right. It comes from my heart, but it's not cool enough, right? And so for a moment, I would stray away from what was the realest thing for me versus to go to what do I think people want to hear. That is kind of gone now, and it's liberating because now I think when we write, we're able to say, hey, like you said, me and Vinz, we listen to everything from Tupac to Bob Marley to African music, but we also rock heavy with Abba, your stuff, a lot of like Scandinavian pop, really love it, and we actually want to make something like that. So if I'm not careful, and if we're not careful, we might be like, no, we can't do that. I mean, we're two black guys. How can we do this?
Oh.
But I think we've gotten good at just we have gotten good at it because we figured out that there's no other way to do this. If we don't do it this way, we're not going to be happy.
I would even use better than more than good. I think we can still improve in
always
this place. Because that's what I was going to say. Like, there's levels.
Yes.
There's always levels. Like, that's why we talked about learning before in the car. It's like, you think you get to a certain level. Well, now, but if I can see the tendencies, I know there's levels to it. And being authentic, bro, even that, man, it has levels to it. There's even more fearless, more being about like what I stand for, like as you go. And so I think even, you know, we've been diving into Stevie Wonder and Quincy Jones as of late, for example. Just I think that's what's a part of it, like being a student of the game, just knowing what's been done before and just seeing those guys, man. You listen to some of their music and you can tell like there's a level to the authenticity because they're just doing whatever they want to do. There's no
nothing to compare.
No, you can't. You haven't thought about this stuff. This is just like I want to make this stuff.
Yeah.
And how can I make it?
How can I make it? Yes. Sure. Like that's the kind of thing. You know? Like, how can I make it? And then I figure it out. And I make it. And then I release it. And then I make some other stuff. You know what I mean?
And it's like it's like we owe it to people. We owe it to whoever or whatever created us. The world is full of people. You said earlier, people in Fleece, some people in Oslo. We're all different. And every single one of us had this amazing thing that only lives in us, only in Nico, only in Vinz, only in Tom, right? And when art becomes the most gorgeous to me is when the realest aspect of yourself come out on whatever art form it is, right? And
but how was like I feel it's good to be in a position where you can sit and think like this. But I wish like I could think like that 10 years ago because I didn't think like that 10 years ago, you know, like and in that process of like getting to where we are today, it's how did you guys, for example, cope in hard times? Because I know that for a couple of years you didn't talk to each other. It was like very
sometimes you have to go through storms. Sometimes.
But can you just like try and explain in that process of like, because you had a tremendous amount of success. You went from being known in Norway to having a #1 hit in the world. You were on Billboard Top 100. It was climbing the charts. You were performing for Obama, and then at the same time you were trying to be Nico, and you were trying to be Vincent, and you were trying to find each other. And then suddenly you split. just in that process, what were going through your
I
minds?
think, and even it was when we split too, we kind of stayed together still.
Yeah.
Like
So still when you split,
Yeah,
you were talking together. You were
we've been now going.
so you were
at it
just like more having a break.
to be honest,
Maybe
like we've been.
psychologically
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah, because to be honest, we've been together in the group now for 15 years. I
Yeah.
think there's about 2-3 times we've kind of been like,
Because the media
so
in Norway made it quite big about like, oh, they're done, they're
oh
split.
yeah,
you know, like,
And people ask us all the time if we
you
still
remember
exist together.
you remember when it happened? I called you and I was like,
Yeah.
this doesn't sound
Yeah,
like
no,
you.
no.
right.
I think we were just like you said before, like when the hours take you and
Yeah.
there's all this stuff happening, and at the same time you're young, so there's certain tools that you just haven't acquired yet.
Yeah.
There's certain growth and maturation that you haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
So you don't know how to deal with a problem, a conflict. You don't even know the value of a relationship. You know what I mean? Like the value of Nico and I's relationship, I've understood it to a whole different level now. There might be another levels to it
Yeah,
coming
that's what
later.
like.
But you know what I
back
mean?
then,
Like,
you probably didn't have the same type of mindset
no,
as
so
you
I'm
have
looking at it
today.
like if Nico and I have a disagreement,
Yeah.
there's like cool, like we can figure that out. But I gotta always remember that I don't just find a guy like that. That's a solid guy. You don't just I don't just walk outside and find another Nico in my life that can be of a tremendous, importance and just a blessing in my life in that way. It's that relationship, what he brings to my life, and that is like he's the other half of the professional dream I have, So when you have that amount of respect for the relationship, it's like, and I didn't have that early on, and maybe none of us had, you know what I mean? So it comes with time, and you look at it like, man, the stuff that we can accomplish together, man, we put our heads down, we figure out, we go through these situations that will arise, and we handle them with love and respect, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, if we can get past those things, man, it's just like, because we've already seen, we can take this stuff.
So without going to therapy, you've had therapy within yourself.
Oh yeah, many hours within ourselves together.
This is amazing.
And there's even ways to do it. I see even which we've discovered. It's just like we talk a lot. Man.
Yeah.
That communication thing is massive because we talk a lot. We just keep it
treat
flowing.
your partnership as a relationship.
Oh, it's 1,000%.
It is.
It's not only a relationship, man. It's a highly, highly, highly valuable relationship. It's extremely valuable. There's actually no limits to how valuable, how much value it can. There's no price to it. You understand? Like we can talk about monetary stuff and stuff, but like that's just like a personal, like the way we can guide and see each other. Like talk about being lonely.
Oh.
How many people have been in exactly your shoes? Even the people from your community and like. Even your fiance, like exactly in your shoes, is unique to you, and that can be sometimes lonely. You know what I mean? Even to my fiance, but even as close as we are, but Nico was on stage with me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So like he was in that room when the guy told us that we couldn't write, and we told us to get back and when we were shelved, or when they told us that we couldn't, he was there. So there's a certain thing of. Togetherness.
You're sharing a part of your soul together.
Like it's just like our journeys together. So it's like all that being said, it's just like the value of that. We didn't necessarily see that at that point. So there was more egos. I think so when you approach
So maybe coming from a standpoint of like pressure about something to prove, feeling the weight that you were feeling. Yeah. And then on top of it, ego.
And plus, success. Success is sweet, man. Success is sweet. So it makes the sour taste kind of stay down, and we just stay in the sweetness. But it doesn't mean that the sour stuff doesn't build. It does build, but you just don't see it because you're sweet, man. But once the stuff goes down, then the sour stuff comes up, and now.
And it's also in a time where, honestly, if you're not careful, your ego is going to be built also because. We're the ones that took this from nothing into something, right?
Yes.
So who is anyone to tell us what's right and wrong? Even friends or people that are close to us, who you guys don't really know. So you just go. So it's hard to hear.
Oh, I've said that
advice.
so many times when my mom has been worried. Where
You know?
but one thing, like for me, it's probably been more like with my health.
Yeah.
Because like ever since I was a kid, I've always had a responsibility of earning my own money.
Yeah.
So when I was 12 years old, I had to start molding the law for old people to save up money, to buy ice cream, to like, because I had to do chores.
Yeah.
And then when I was 14, I started working at the local, the local, what's it called? Not the supermarket, but they sell books, local bookstore. Yeah. And I was assisting there and helping out, and I had that work until I was 16, and then I was working at the older's home, and so I've had all these like different jobs from a very young age. So when I started making my own money, I knew the responsibility of taking care of them. So I wasn't scared of making money, but for me it was more about the time. The time consuming, because I was like, I wasn't seeing my friends, I wasn't seeing my mom, I wasn't seeing my dad, I was missing out on Christmas, New Year's Eve. Then suddenly I was meeting Maren. I was leaving her because she was studying. I could be gone for 3 months. So for me it was more about time and the time commitment that I ended up just like feeling so awful because I was letting people down, or I felt I let people down. And that created this loneliness that we're talking about, like where not necessarily the lifestyle itself was hurting me, but it was just my time. I was feeling so guilty because I hadn't any time to give to other people that I loved.
You didn't have time to do you.
No,
Basically.
and I ended up just like doing what everybody else told me to do. And that have in many ways been very refreshing, just like growing myself into the business I wanted to be. Where I can make my own decisions, where I can be my own.
I think that's where we're crossing our paths together again. I think.
And I remember so well when we did Love Me Right. And the day before we were going in the studio, I met you at the house you were renting out in Calabasas. And I thought to myself, man, like if I had this type of money, and then I
Probably did too.
No.
Casual stunter.
No. But then I understood like the amount of success you had with Am I Wrong?
Right. Yeah.
Because like to just throw that amount in a house. And then you have a place in Norway, you have like, you were just telling me like you had all these like assets, and I was like, I understand now like the type of machinery you guys have compared to me. And I think looking at it from a perspective of being here right now, I'm so happy that you have actually gone through the steps that you have gone through.
Thank you.
Because you have gotten richer in life, you know?
Another song but for real.
Thank you.
And like I said earlier, sometimes the storm, it shapes us.
And when I saw that you were in Amsterdam and you were spending a lot of time in Amsterdam with these producers, and I saw the excitement in your faces that I haven't seen in a while.
Yes.
What a wonderful time, man.
This was a couple of years ago, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're back.
Because you
we really missed them.
that's so amazing that you say that you recognize that and you can say they're back. Because you didn't see a song that is charting. No. You just saw that.
That thing.
Isn't that amazing?
So
you know what it's about. That love. That means being back. It's not even about the numbers. It could be. But it comes from that's where it starts off. That's beautiful. And we're definitely in that place. We have that light again.
Oh, 100%.
It's that inspiration thing, eh? Like when you kind of you found like something. Ooh, this is where I want to go.
And then following you, it's been like telling you something, and now I feel like, you have explored, you have gone through this adventure, and now you have found your purpose of that universe mixing everything together. Can you just like tell me a little about like that whole like change, like the changing in the styles, like trying out different things?
Yes,
like
for sure. There's something that I kind of always, not always, but I ask myself these days, because we can be quick to say, oh, we weren't on the right path or we were off our path or whatnot, but maybe we were supposed to be just exactly there.
Yeah,
Because
by the way.
when I look at our music, and me and Vinz have done this many times, right? We go back and we look at the titles of certain songs that represented certain eras of our lives or our careers. Bro, it's nuts how they describe where we were.
and they speak to you.
One song. All I need is one song to give my family that feeling. I'm never gonna leave them. I love them. First hit in Norway. All we needed was one song. And it was Am I Wrong?
Yeah.
Am I wrong for thinking that we can be something for real? Am I wrong for thinking we can achieve this dream? That's what we sang about.
Yeah.
We did. Then we go into That's How You Know You Fucked Up, and you felt it in the music even. Maybe that the guys are, like you said, where are they going now? So, but again, was it the right place to be or wasn't it? But
I think as long as you have perspective and as long as you can learn something from it. What we aspire when we make music and when we create is to go deeper in ourselves, to either to reconnect, either to learn something, either to get more wisdom, but it's never to feel judgmental, you know?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I think that every time we talk, the three of us get together, we talk of these things. And it's just, it feels like we're on, and probably all artists are. I've always said that music is a very spiritual journey. Because one thing is to make the music, but also the industry we're in, the game we're competing in, it takes you through a journey where I feel like for us, we're just getting closer and closer and closer to the realest of ourselves. So maybe that's what we were. It was so pure when we started out in Oslo and just had a dream, had nothing to compare it to, and it blows up. And now it's, like I said, $1 million business and you need to attend to all these things. But then you come maybe back to the real again. And maybe that's the whole, you understand, oh, that's who I am. Maybe that's the journey.
But you know, today we are gonna connect to that feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Reconnect as old, new, and future.
Yes.
That's cool, man. Let's go.
Another quote.
That's beautiful. Let's do it, man.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
So what a great way to start a session. What a great conversation. What a great way to sync up, man. Let's go.
The song you're hearing is Love to the Universe. And me and Nico and Vinz, we had a blast connecting in the studio, making a banger.
Okay.
I think that's the song that we did last
We did
time.
Please save this because this monster is coming out on Friday, and the best thing, we're gonna do it all over again next week. Catch you later.
Like after the interview, they went and recorded the song.
The song.
And remember to spread that love.
Oh wow, what a show.
Oh, a 1 hour show, but a really inspiring one,
Exactly.
motivative
And,
one.
So you can learn a lot from these three guys, huh?
Yeah, they were really talking about very important things.
Yeah, life lessons.
Their mistakes, what they and at the end they now identified what they have achieved so far.
Exactly. And the main thing I've just learned is that the chemistry within the three of them
It's
is
just
huge in a way that it was they call him Tom.
Yeah.
Tom showed to interview the two of them, but it
they were
changed.
everyone was
mutual.
talking about their experiences. It was not like an interview, but like a story. Like everyone was
Just a
giving
talk.
what they have encountered, what they really go through, and what they have achieved so far.
Exactly.
Like it was like a three men talk, not an interview actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And even you can't even start to talk about, because it's
Yeah.
many more of
Many,
what we
many
can
lessons,
talk.
but
We can
just
even talk for another 1 hour.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just achieved. I just took one thing from Nico when he said that we at the moment they are really what he has achieved himself is like I've now achieved like I will always do what I feel it's right, but not what I think it's right.
Exactly.
That statement really meant a lot.
Yeah, and also Vince added on that, that saying that whatever he learned is that when he noticed that their journey are intertwined,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that you have to cope with it, and then he can't find another Nico with anybody
Oh,
else.
even if they feel like they have a clash or like a
Yeah,
misunderstanding, they will find a way to sort it out
yeah.
because even if they like go their separate ways, you will never find like someone else. Like you cannot just walk and find another Nico.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
they need to sit down, so the issues and move on.
And I pray that it's gonna be a comeback. Huh?
Yeah.
And did you notice that wherever they are not even satisfied of wherever they were or wherever they are. They're
Yeah,
like
they
even
want
still
to. Yeah,
dreaming.
of course. When you achieve a dream that you had before, you will dream more and bigger
Yeah.
ones, more achievements. Yeah,
Yeah, and
you'll
lastly
never be
on
satisfied.
Tom said that it's so sad to find a man that who was really depending on himself, depending on something else like drug or being taken his life to add. He said to say to the toilet, like
Yeah,
always try to be real, work on
be
yourself,
yourself.
be
Yeah,
yourself, yeah, and focus in a way that don't lose the track.
exactly. And know your
Yeah,
friends, know your
know
circle.
your
Choose
circle.
the right, like choose people who have good intentions for you.
Yeah, not let either pressure, money, or anything change you.
Exactly. Wow, it was a really, really good session. Hope you guys have really learned a lot. Drop what you've learned below. What really inspired you about the interview? I like call it the
At
interview.
all.
A talk, a
Yeah.
motivative one. Drop, share all the details below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.
We out.
See you in the next video. Bye bye.